settling something right now. This is our first Castlevania review, and as the Metroid guy, I'm sure the term Metroidvania is on your mind. Well, obviously Castlevania is a Metroidvania. False! Castlevania 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all action platformers. It wasn't until the PlayStation Symphony of the Night in 1997 that Metroid's actual exploration search action gameplay got implemented into the series. Technically, Castlevania was its own thing until it essentially became a Metroid-like. But the game's programmer, Koji Igarashi, claims that Zelda was the inspiration for Symphony of the Night's change in gameplay style. And due to how blatantly Metroid the game is, and clearly nothing at all like Zelda, he's either wildly misinformed or lying to protect his ego. So what's your point? Castlevania gets genre credit for licking the spoon after Metroid baked the cookies. I want to lick the spoon. So do I! Super Castlevania 4 is actually the 8th Castlevania. We are so not going there. Okay, well, it's actually pretty simple, considering this game is essentially a full recreation of the original NES Castlevania, but juiced up on the Super Nintendo. It's also the perfect spooky retro title for a Halloween special. Was that darkening? I've been meaning to properly get into Castlevania for some time now, but it wasn't until 2020 that I finally buckled down and bit the silver bullet and beat Super. Imagine a burly barbarian infiltrating a generic Universal Studios haunted castle armed with nothing but a whip and 10 gallons of testosterone. Sounds like a sex dungeon. No, it's not a sex dungeon! Full of bats, ghosts, and skeletons! And mermen! Huh? And mer-skeletons! Wait, what even is a mer skeleton? Okay, I kinda made that one up, but they're still mermen! Yeah, not nearly as scary as— We're all hiding bona fide mer skeletons under their mer flesh! Have you played Castlevania for the NES? Well, now it's on the SNES, and therefore my obligation has the word super in the title. Super Castlevania finally allows Simon some decent controls while you battle your way through Dracula's castle. You can control your jumps in mid-air and whip in 8 directions, lasso and swing across ledges, and even dangle the whip around by holding down the button, which looks silly, but it's actually a really helpful strategy for defeating enemies in certain situations. Though the scariest thing in the entire game is, once again, the stairs. Yeah, the Belmonts are to stairs what Gordon Freeman is to ladders. If you're not holding up or down on the stairs when you approach them, you'll just phase through reality and fall right straight through them. You can't even jump on or off the stairs. And yes, you'll have to do lots of climbing on stairs while dodging and defeating enemies. Thankfully though, this game is a lot more manageable than the past entries, with enemies generally dealing less damage, and with Simon's sharper control alongside his arsenal of sub-weapons he collects along the way. Sub-weapons like the Cross and Holy Water can be found and used at the cost of some of the hearts you find on your quest. You probably wondered why all the hearts you were finding weren't healing you. Yeah, that's because they're your weapon ammunition. What else could they be? And the sub-weapon is finally mapped to a button on the controller, allowing for even better control as well. Simon will have to clear stages 1, 2, 3, 4. We can count. Oh yeah? What comes after stage 9? Well, 10. A. What? And what comes after stage A? B, stupid. What? Is there a stage C? Nope, that's the end of the game. What? Learn to count, dimwit. So basically a bunch of Universal monsters got invited to Dracula's Monster Mash, and a large hairy man came to crash the party. This is the part where I would talk some sense into him, but he's not wrong. You've got Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, dancing Phantom of the Opera ghosts, and obviously Dracula himself. Imagine rolling around a party city in October covered in glue. That's what Castlevania looks like. It's like Spirit Halloween's generic McSpooky Town, except without all the painfully unfunny adult costumes and cheap accessories. The game actually does look really cool. It's got some awesome sprite art and animations to go alongside those shameless ripoffs. Yeah, remember that 3D spinning room? And the swinging chandeliers, the animating, parallaxing backgrounds? There's some really cool effects that the Super Nintendo is pulling off here. It's the coolest looking conglomerate of discount fair use Halloween paraphernalia I've ever— It's not fair use. What? What? Yes, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is fair use, but not Boris Karloff's Frankenstein owned by Universal, which is the one you know and recognize. They also own The Mummy. And of course your boy Dracula. Does Castlevania even have the rights to Castlevania? What does it matter? Konami doesn't make video games anymore. And Universal doesn't make monster movies anymore. We are living in the worst timeline. Bah, something about every 100 years or so, evil shows up out of nowhere and needs the local Belmont to swat it upside the head with a rolled up newspaper. It's basically a remake of the NES game anyway, so who cares? That is if you're playing the Japanese version. What? In North America, it's a sequel to Simon's Quest. 2, yep. 4 is a sequel to 2. And 3? That comes before 1. Just like Metal Gear Solid? Also made by Konami. Anyway, Simon kills Dracula at the end. Eat dirt, count, see you in 100 years. Have you heard this thing here? It makes the best sound you've ever heard in your whole life. Why? It got the oomph. It's got the pizzazz. It got the generic McSpooky Town. Come on, the soundtrack sounds amazing, and the SNES gives it that extra punch. I know, I just wanted you to break that awful character. Choices! There were dozens of action platformers at the time, both in the arcades and on home console. But something about Castlevania made it stick out from the crowd both in character as well as its superior yet still challenging gameplay that is still packed with secrets. This game got censored in some pretty silly ways in hindsight, like removing some of the blood, clothing the freaking background statues, and removing all references to crosses and any other religious iconography, further cementing Castlevania as generic McSpooky Town. What really sells the game are all the unique stages, enemies, and bosses as you dive deeper into Dracula's castle. They're all so cool and different and keep shifting your expectations on what you'll encounter next. Except Slogra. I hate Slogra. That bird skeleton with a stick. Slogra is the first of a 4-boss final wave ending with Dracula himself. But I swear Slogra is the hardest of the bunch, and Dracula himself is even harder than— obligatory penis joke! Is harder than the wing! Than schlong! This is a professional show. Than nuts! Specifically walnuts. I mean, have you ever tried cracking one of those things without the proper tools? It sucks! Damn, those nuts are so hard! Well, the positive gamer in me isn't afraid to give Super Castlevania 4 a frightening 8 out of 10. This is probably my favorite of the action platformer Castlevania series for its incredible gameplay, sprite art, music, and huge cast of creatures like the floating horse heads, ghost dancers, and murder skeletons! The critical gamer in me was shocked to find Super Castlevania 4 to be a worthy 7 out of 10. It's certainly a challenging ride, but still holds up surprisingly well by modern standards, alongside incredible artwork and music that help give the game its best asset, a powerful atmosphere. Now, come on, Bomb, get a hold of yourself.
Well, what do you think? Tell us how your positive and critical sides rate Super Castlevania 4 in the comments below. Skeleton, away!
But if you think this game has absolutely anything to do with Metroid, then you're just playing with yourself. Special thanks this week go to Zach, who you might recognize from Hitbox, for requesting this episode. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more, and use the links in the description to nominate your own episode. Thank you to all of our Patreon members, Atomic Thomas, Cameron, Arrow, Rowan, Erica, Shyam, Minya, Sid, Squad Fam, and Crystal. Booyah!